Good morning, FHN students. This is Dr. Blankenship, and I am happy to be a part of your preparation process for taking the ACT, which will begin next Tuesday morning, March 8th. We are going to begin by me walking you through a few bits of information about the test. So first, if you are taking the standard form of the ACT, and basically if you haven't been told that you're taking something different, then you should assume you're taking the standard form, you will need to report to one of the two gyms at 7:20 a.m. on March 8th. We will have decided by then which part of the alphabet is going into which gym, but for now just know you need to report to the gyms. If you are taking a test that comes with accommodations, we will hand out some passes to those of you that are taking an ACT accommodation tests, and you are to report to the Learning Commons on March 8th at 7:20 a.m. If you are late to either of these testing areas and the test has already begun when you show up, you will not be permitted into those test locations and you will miss the ACT. When you arrive at the testing locations, you need to have a number 2 pencil with you. You need to have an approved calculator, and there's actually a sheet of paper that your teacher has about approved calculators, and there's also information about approved calculators on your MyACT account. I would like for you to not bring backpacks and cell phones and food or drinks into the testing location, but we will talk a little bit more about those items on next slide. You absolutely cannot have a cell phone with you during the test. I can't overstate the severity of this, that your test will be forfeited if we catch you with a cell phone during the test. And if you're using your phone during the test, it could actually forfeit the scores of the other people in the testing room. So you need to, if you bring a book bag into the testing room that day, you need to set your book bag well away from you, over against the wall. Your cell phone needs to be turned completely off, not silenced. We can still hear the buzz of that. They need to be turned completely off, placed in that book bag, and placed against the wall. That's where any food or drink needs to be placed as well. And if you wear any kind of smartwatch, an Apple Watch, Fitbit, anything that has a timing device on it that could be set with an alarm, anything that could receive notifications, anything like that has to be placed in your book bag as well. Do not bring mechanical pencils with you that day. You need sharpened number 2 wooden pencils. You, again, are responsible for knowing what type of calculator you're supposed to have and which ones cannot be. Basically, if you can store functions on the calculator, it is not accessible, or it is not allowed in that day. And so, if you have any more questions about this, please ask your teacher. Please ask me before the testing date. Okay, at this time, all of you should have these 4 items in front of you. You need a number 2 pencil. You need a booklet called Taking the ACT. You need your own personalized answer sheet. Most of them should have a barcode and sticker attached to it that the staff at FHN has already given you your personalized answer sheet. And then also there is an instruction sheet for how to access your MyACT account. This is where you'll see your scores. This is where you can select schools to send your scores to, and kind of play with a lot of other information that ACT makes accessible to you. And so all of these items should be in front of you now, and I am going to walk you through your answer sheet. It's called the answer document, the one that's green and white in front of you. And so get ready with that, with your answer sheet facing section A, and we're going to get started. Okay, you should see section A at the top right corner of your answer document. And I need you to fill out section A. You're printing your last name, your first name, and your middle initial. You are going to print your address, your city, state, and zip code. When you have finished with section A, please begin with section B by filling out your last name, your first name, and your middle initial. You need to write it in the boxes above and then fill in the corresponding bubbles below. When you have finished section B, you will need to read all of the information that's in the examinee statement, certification, and signature. Read that paragraph or those couple paragraphs. You will write the part at the very bottom there that says, I agree to the statements above and certify that I am the person whose information appears on this form. You need to write that legibly and sign and date it in that box. Teachers, please pause the video at this point and give your students time to complete A, B, and the examinee statement box. Thank you. Students, at this time, please just flip your answer document all the way over. That will lead you to be on page 4 of the answer document, and you should have section C in the top left corner. I need you to complete section C, again filling in the bubbles, section D, again filling in the bubbles, section E, section F, section G, please. Again, sections C, D, E, and F and G are mandatory boxes that you must fill out along with the corresponding bubbles. When you are complete with sections C, D, E, F, and G, I will talk to you about the corresponding sections. Teachers, feel free to pause and allow your students to complete C, D, E, F, and G. Okay, at this time you should be up to section H on page 4 of your answer document. Your gender in section H and your race ethnicity in section I are optional components of your information. So if you do not wish to answer those, you can leave H and I blank. And then section K says that it's for school use only, but I want you to go ahead and fill out section K for me. Teachers, I need your help making sure that students fill this out correctly. In section K, you are going to write 262, then you should see a dash there, and after the dash you are going to write 844. That comes directly from ACT. That is our school's code. If you write something different there, you will not get scores. Okay? So, 262-844. Teachers, pause the video at this point and please go around and make sure all students have sections C through G filled out and section K filled out correctly. Thank you. Students, if you open your answer document to page 2, in the inside of your answer document is page 2, and it gives you the option to give ACT your email address. This is an optional component, but it does allow ACT to send you information about upcoming tests. It allows ACT to give your email address to any schools that you desire to give your email address to. And there are other reasons why ACT would like to be able to have your email address. Again, it is not something that is mandatory, but will benefit you later when you're trying to get information about colleges and scholarships and those kind of things. Finally, the next one is your local student ID number. All of you have an FHN ID number that you use like in the lunchroom and those kind of things. That section goes, or that number goes in section L. Teachers, it is mandatory that students at this point have blocks A through G completed. So please, before you begin to collect the answer sheets from students, we need to make sure that blocks A through G are completed correctly. Students, this completes your instructions for the pre-registration portion of the ACT. What I want to advise you to do now is to get yourself ready for the test. There are preparation materials out there on Study Island. There are other sorts of ACT hints and tips on the internet that you can be looking at. I advise that you get a lot of good rest the night before the test. I advise that you eat a good breakfast that morning. I I think that in between now and then, you should use that sheet of paper to get on your MyACT account and begin to look and familiarize yourself with what that looks like, so that when you get your scores, you will know what your MyACT account can do with those scores and how it can send scores to schools and those kind of things. If you have any further questions about taking the ACT next week, please feel free to hunt me down. Ask your teacher there in the room. But otherwise, we will see you next Tuesday morning in the gyms or in the Learning Commons, and good luck to all of you.